Hello, everyone, and welcome to AmeriCorps State and National's February Grantee Call. I'm Colleen Hollihan, ASN's Training Manager, and happy to be here with you today. We have a packed agenda with lots of friends joining us from agency headquarters, as well as our Grantee Spotlight. So I'm going to hand it over to the Director of AmeriCorps State and National, Sonali Nijawan.
Thank you, Colleen. And I will just reiterate Colleen's welcome. Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to have you on this call. We hope you are having a good Tuesday and that your February has been off to a great start. We do have a full agenda, so I don't want to take time away from that. Again, welcome. Thank you for joining us, and let's get this moving. So I'm going to pass it to Colleen to lead the way.
Great, thanks, Sonali. So we could go to the next slide. Our first update today is from Jackie Delude, our agency's program specialist on recruitment, and Jackie's going to share some updates on what they've been up to. So Jackie, it's all yours.
Thanks, Colleen. We'll go to the next slide here. First, I just want to thank everybody who participated in our first ASN recruitment call of 2023 back in January. We do really appreciate everybody's thoughtful engagement on that call where we talked about data, and we shared a follow-up message from that call on the 26th of January. So you should have gotten that in your inbox as well. It does have some new resources in there, along with an updated calls calendar with Zoom registration links for our upcoming recruitment ASN calls for the upcoming months. So please check that out when you have a chance. Our next call is coming up on Wednesday, February 15th, and you should have already received an invite for that as well. One of our partners will be giving a presentation to showcase how they've been collaborating locally in communities to meet their collective recruitment needs. So we're really excited to have SBP joining us to provide some updates and kind of a spotlight success story during that call. Again, there will be time, there will be hopefully more time for breakout room discussions than there was during the January call. And we've kind of recalibrated a bit to ensure that we give folks a bit more of that small group time. So we're looking forward to that. And then for those of you who have been engaging with our Handshake account, our next open session is going to be on February 22nd. And the invite was included in that latest follow-up message that I mentioned that went out on January 26th. And then if you are already engaged in that account using Handshake regularly, another separate message to you all should be going out today as well. So looking forward to continuing to engage in the Handshake platform. And then finally, as always, if you or any of your colleagues are not currently receiving our messaging from the centralized recruitment unit and you need to be added to our list, or if you'd like to share about any of the topics listed in our recruitment call calendar, or if you just have any other questions and want to reach out, please feel free to do so at that inbox, the join inbox there on the screen. I think that is all I have. I will go ahead and turn it back over to Colleen.
Thanks, Jackie. We'll just give a minute. If any folks have questions for Jackie, feel free to raise your hand. We'll unmute you, or you can put your questions in the chat. And thanks for the edit in the chat. We do need to add an R to join at AmeriCorps.gov, so we will fix that in our follow-up. Thank you. Any questions for Jackie? Okay, we'll move to the next topic. Thanks so much, Jackie, for joining us. If we can go to the next slide. Next, we have Elizabeth Forrest here from the Office of Monitoring to provide an update on the National Service Criminal History Check FAQs. So I will pass it to Elizabeth, and if we could go to the next slide.
Great, thank you, Colleen. Thank you, ASN team. So I'm here to highlight a recent update to the NSCHC FAQs that relates to public health AmeriCorps recipients specifically. The update also relates to 9/11 Day of Service grants in case any of you also are also recipients of that grant. Email notice of this update went out last Tuesday, January 31st. Specifically within those grants, the update relates to any staff whose salaries are reflected solely on the grantee share column of their budget. So we have a new FAQ number 5.4.1. It clarifies the need for public health AmeriCorps grant recipients to conduct NSCHC for all staff performing activities on the PHA grant. This includes staff listed entirely on the grantee share of the budget and paid entirely from non-AmeriCorps funds. This is an update to guidance issued on November 18th, where FAQ 5.4 stated that PHA and 9/11 grant staff paid through grantee share only did not require NSCHC. So to accommodate this update, if you are a PHA grantee with staff whose salary is reflected solely on the grantee share of the budget, who were performing activities on the grant, but you did not conduct NSCHC for those staff since the previous guidance in November, you must complete NSCHC for those staff and make an eligibility determination by Friday, March 10th. So to repeat that a bit, for PHA recipients with staff on the grantee share only of your budget, who were working on the grant from November 18th to January 31st, anytime in there. If you did not conduct NSCHC before they started, you must conduct NSCHC, meaning all checks completed, reviewed, and an eligibility determination made no later than March 10th. So please do review the updated FAQs and the January 31st Gov delivery notice if you have not already. Those are available on the NSCHC page of AmeriCorps.gov. Is it all right if I pop that in the chat? Is that helpful for folks? It's already there. No, yes. Colleen's got it, as if we had coordinated that. So again, this update may apply to you if you are a public health AmeriCorps or 9/11 Day of Service grant recipient. We apologize for any confusion caused by the update. If you and your portfolio manager would like to discuss how this applies to your situation, NSCHC situations, a lot of grant administration situations can get very specific in the weeds. So please, if you need, you can be in touch with the NSCHC team to review that. I'll close by thanking you all for your attention and efforts to meeting the NSCHC requirements.
Thanks, Elizabeth. We wanted to take a few minutes if folks had questions for Elizabeth. I see a question in the chat. I see a challenging and not cleared update as well. It has the January 31st, 2023 date. Elizabeth, can you address that?
Yes, Tara, thank you for raising that. The only updates to that document, so that is the challenging and not cleared recommendation resource. That's particularly for geared at applicants. The only updates in that were links. Some of the links to pages managed by the FBI were outdated. So we updated the links. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that in the notice that aligned with this on January 31, as it was kind of already in the pipeline when it was brought to our attention that those links were out of date. So thank you, Tara.
Thanks for the feedback and the clarification question. Any other questions for Elizabeth on this update? As I mentioned, feel free to raise your hand or you can put them in the chat. Okay, well, with that, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for joining us. And we will follow up with this information in our call notes as well. So we can move to the next slide. And the next person to join us is Katrina French from the Disaster Services Unit. And Katrina is going to provide an update on what the DSU has been up to. We can go to the next slide and welcome Katrina.
Thanks, everybody. I'm going to get started with the Hurricane Ian Florida operations, and Rita was able to join us, so she'll finish up with the New Mexico. So our operations are concluding at the end of this week. We're currently, we finished our last operational day in Lee County, Florida, and the rest of our days are going to be tool repair and then divesting of all of our borrowed equipment and all of the purchased equipment, as well as retiring our base camp into the condition that we received it in. We've had 425 total AmeriCorps members deployed over the last 4 months from 11 or 12 different ADART programs across the country. They've provided over 53,000 hours of service, conducted over 190 damage assessments, provided 75 homes with mucking and gutting, provided 40 plus homes with emergency mold suppression, and have estimated to have served over 3,000 individuals. We started these operations in October when the storm hit in late September, and it has been a wild last 4 months, but we are satisfied with the progress that this operation has made over those months. And I'm going to pass it over to Rita.
Thank you, Katrina. Hi, everyone. So to start, I would be remiss not to mention the earthquakes that were experienced in southern Turkey and northern Syria on Sunday and early Monday mornings. There were significant fatalities and economic losses. So if you haven't educated yourself on that, I would encourage you to do so. That's something that the US government is monitoring. They're also monitoring the State of the Union address tonight, so that's something we've been apprised of. As you know, there has been plenty of activity over the past few months, from fires to winter weather, heavy flooding. So we've definitely been in contact with states impacted by that. We know our ADARTs are supporting, but as far as mission assignments, we have been active with Hurricane Ian, which Katrina just gave an update on, and also the New Mexico wildfires and flooding operations. So in May, late spring last year, New Mexico was impacted by significant wildfires and subsequent flooding. So we've been working with the state of New Mexico. This is the first mission assignment for the AmeriCorps agency in New Mexico. We've been working with them to develop this mission assignment for a while. It kicked off on January 23rd. Katie Keene and I deployed out, began setting up the mission assignment. She has been there since the 23rd and has now onboarded our incident command team for mucking and gutting, and also our support staff for call downs. So there have been 16 AmeriCorps members providing support from FEMA Corps to our ADART teams, and additional ADARTs have been deploying out this week to support the immediate needs that you see here. If you have any questions, our email is listed here, but please feel free to reach out to us. Also, if you're interested, if your program is interested in becoming an AmeriCorps disaster response team, that's always something we're looking to speak with you about. More capacity means more ability to respond. And as we all know, disasters are becoming more and more frequent. So we appreciate all the work that you do and the service that your members commit to disaster support, and look forward to a continued partnership. Thank you, and thank you for giving us this time today.
Thank you so much, Katrina and Rita, and for the important work that you're doing. Do we have any questions for Rita or Katrina? And we appreciate all the support in the chat for their work as well. All right, we'll keep it moving then. Thanks so much again for the update. So we can go to the next slide. So now we have some AmeriCorps Week updates, and I'd like to welcome Adrian Andrews, our Deputy Chief of Staff for Strategic Engagement, and they're going to provide some updates on AmeriCorps Week.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you all. And just a quick shout out to Rita, Katrina, and our DSU team. They hosted Sonali and our CEO, Michael Smith, a couple weeks ago, got some great press and did some Presidential Volunteer Service Awards, and incredible story. So Google that for some inspiration, and just a shout out for their incredible work all year round. I am here to talk a little bit about AmeriCorps Week. I lead a cross-functional team that amplifies our collective work across the government, philanthropy, and through public engagements. And right now we are working on rolling out AmeriCorps Week. Many of you know that the dates are March 12th through the 18th. We are sticking with our theme of United We Serve, and that opportunity to build bridges through service when we and celebrate that transformation that happens when we're serving alongside one another. Tuesday of that week, we will be highlighting the efforts of mayors across the country. And then Thursday will be the Day of the A, which I know a lot of people probably have some fun competing with the creative videos. I know our team has enjoyed watching those. So please think creatively about how you'll celebrate service, your members, volunteers, and community impact. And if you've got an event or something in the works, please share that with your region folks, with your portfolio managers, so we can roll those up and amplify those celebrations and those opportunities across the team. 2 things to look out in the coming week. The toolkit and the AmeriCorps Week website will be updated by the end of this week. And then our comms team will be sending out more information about those toolkits next week. So thank you all for what you're doing every day, and especially on AmeriCorps Week.
Thanks, Adrian. Do folks have any questions for Adrian? Besides big excitement about AmeriCorps Week? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Thanks so much, Adrian.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay, we can move to the next slide. So now we have some updates directly from the AmeriCorps State and National Headquarters team. So I'm going to pass it to Becky Davis with our first update.
Thanks, Colleen. Hi, everyone. I'm Becky Davis, ASN's Compliance and Systems Specialist. This is just a friendly reminder that the FY23 Disability Accommodation Fund instructions and request forms are available on AmeriCorps.gov. Under the Manage Members section, grantees are responsible for providing reasonable accommodation for their members. And so these funds are intended to offset a grantee's costs. They are available on a first come, first served basis. So if you need those, definitely fill out the application and submit. And then I'll also drop the link for the instructions in the chat. And that is all for me. Thanks, Colleen.
Thanks, Becky. Next update is we wanted to share that we are in the process of updating many of the resources on AmeriCorps.gov under our resource section. So we currently have updated templates under the Manage Members section in the resources. So templates on the member timesheet outline, the member service description, the host site agreement, as well as the member service agreement. And we're also working on updating resources under access program tools. So we just recently updated our ASN glossary of terms. We will be sharing links to all of these updated resources in the call notes, and just wanted to make you all aware that there have been things updated, and we will continue to update in the weeks and months ahead. Next update, I want to pass it to Sarah Foster for an update on KIF-CSG project report instructions.
Hi, everyone. Sarah Foster here, ASN's Program Impact Specialist. Email went out last week, but if you weren't on that email by chance, this is for state commissions. The CSG and KIF 2022 progress report instructions have been posted on AmeriCorps.gov. They're up there under the State Service Commission's grantee page if you go to the Submit a Progress Report action. They're posted. If you have any questions, please reach out to your portfolio managers, and we're excited to hear about what all your commissions have been doing in the past year. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. And to round out our updates and address some of the questions we received prior to the call regarding dates for symposium, we are still working on identifying dates for our 2023 symposium. It's going to take place either in July or August in Washington, D.C., and we'll notify you all as soon as the dates are available. So thanks for those questions, and we will keep you posted once our dates have been solidified. So just want to pause briefly if there are any questions on these updates before we keep the call moving. So I see a question around will symposiums still be online and in person? So the plan as of right now is that the symposium will be in person, and our hope is to have some virtual components as well. We will not have an entirely virtual symposium. However, our goal is to have components that will be virtual. I see a question. Sarah, do you want to just pop on and define KIF CSG for folks?
I sure do, and that's a great question and point that I could use fewer acronyms when discussing something. So great question. Yes, CSG stands for Commission Support Grants, and KIF, CIF, is the Commission Investment Funds. These are two particular grants for our service state commission partners. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah, and thanks all for the questions. So we're gonna move along to the next slide. And we have updates from our Office of Grant Administration. So Lisa and Bonnie, take it away.
Thank you, Colleen. And we can go to the next slide. We have 4 updates this month for you all. 3 of them are related. The first one that I want to start with is that we were informed last week that some of our grantees were getting some scam emails related to registering for sam.gov. This has happened several times in the past where there seems to be an uptick in people reaching out to federal grantees and others saying that they will pay to register entities in SAM. So this is just an opportunity to remind us all, SAM is a free public website. There is no charge to register. SAM.gov will not contact you directly soliciting money for this service, nor do they use social media. And so we put a Gov delivery message out this morning to all of the people on all of our grantee lists. And we made sure our colleagues in ORO are aware. If you should get an email like that, one thing that you could do is to help us all get a sense of how prevalent this is. Let your portfolio manager know so that they can collect that and let us know, because we do these reminders as needed when we feel like there's an uptick in false solicitations out there. Also, the Gov delivery message will be posted on the Manager Grant website later today if it's not already live. So again, just beware of some scams related to people inappropriately soliciting funds to register you for sam.gov. That is a free government service that you do not need to pay for. Your registration isn't faster if you do pay for someone to do it. So just wanted to highlight that. The next 3 updates I think are super exciting. We thought our big headline for you all this month was going to be that our closeout training for grantees is done. It is almost done and really excited about it. We know this has been a challenge for some of you. The training we did many years ago is outdated. So we had worked really hard over the last couple of months on this training. We did all of that knowing in the backdrop that the payment management system's federal cash transaction report would be going away sometime before September 30th of this year. So sometime before September 30th, 2023. In meeting with PMS last week, we went for what we thought was the earliest possible date for us and all of you to transition as effectively as possible. So the last report that any AmeriCorps grantees are going to have to submit in PMS for the federal cash transaction report will be the April 30th report. And so as a result of that, the closeout training, obviously we're not going to release it because we want it to be released at the same time that we all get comfortable with the new process for closeout. So what does this mean with the federal cash transaction report going away? It's going away for everyone who uses PMS by September 30th. This is a decision that PMS made. They piloted it last year with Health and Human Services grantees, and other agencies are coming online to do away with the report on schedules that work for them. So I'm going to ask for patience and support and good feedback throughout the process. We know sometimes as an agency, we struggle with change management, and this is a big one. We're excited about it because we know how big of an issue this report can be for grantees, particularly when it comes to closeout. But we also know that our implementations can be uneven here. I'll certainly speak for OGA. And so I'll just say, please, be patient with us, share your good ideas, share questions that you may be getting either internally or from people who work on your finances if that's not internal. This longer term for us as an agency, this is going to really help us with some of our longstanding audit findings because we're not going to have an additional set of information related to grantee reported disbursements. And we are going to be rolling out a lot more about this, but we didn't want to miss the opportunity to share this decision that we've made literally last week and let you know much more is coming on these calls and other formats to make sure that you're comfortable, that we're comfortable, that we've collectively tried to do everything we can to prepare for this transition. So again, I'll just end this piece by saying again that the last federal cash transaction report you'll have to file with PMS for your AmeriCorps grants will be the reports due April 30th. And yes, there will definitely be technical assistance. Again, we'll do it in multiple different ways. We haven't figured out all of that yet, but we know that we felt like it was important to share this, and particularly because it delayed the closeout training that we are very excited to release very soon. The other thing I want to mention is that the payment management system is going through its own change management process. And so they're creating new resources and particularly reporting functionality, both for federal agencies and for federal recipients. And so on their website, and we'll make sure that this link is also in the chat and in the notes for this call, they've got a lot of resources, both standalone trainings that you can check out at your convenience, and then different reporting capabilities. So we want to really encourage you to check those out and share those with the people in your organization who need them. And then we do know there have been some challenges with some payment management system liaisons responding in a timely manner. And so we have flagged this for the payment management system leadership. What we would ask of you is if you're not getting a response in a timely manner, first go to the payment management system help desk because that initiates a ticket and that lets them track it on their end. If that's still not getting you the resolution you need, then reach out to your portfolio manager because again, just like with the SAM.gov scams, collectively in internal to AmeriCorps, we can collect and get a sense of the scope of the problem and how big it is and if there's trends and themes. But again, the payment management system is aware that like all of us, they have customer service challenges. They have people out unexpectedly sometimes and things like that. So just because we have gotten a couple of questions, particularly in the last couple of months, wanted to just flag that and also share that they are also trying to provide many more resources that are available both to all of you and then to us as a federal agency to better manage our funds in their systems and to better have an understanding of how the payment management system works. And so with that, Colleen, I will pause and see if there's any questions on these updates.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I see a hand up. If we can unmute Leah so she can ask her question. I'm assuming you had a question, Leah. Or maybe that was a mistake. No worries. Tell your toddler we all say hello. So I did see a question here. Just to be clear, is that the FFR in PMS? And Bonnie has replied that yes, that is the FFR in PMS. We'll take a pause if there are additional questions here.
We really appreciate that question. I'll just add that the FFR, that if those of you that are cost reimbursement grants, if you file an FFR in e-grants, that is not going away. It's just the FFR or the federal cash transaction report that you file with the payment management system. So thanks for that question.
Okay, well, I don't see anything up there now. So we can move on. Thanks, Lisa and Bonnie. So if we can go to the next slide. So now I'd like to welcome AJ Perlman and Micah Sanderson from Public Health AmeriCorps for some PHA updates. Welcome.
Thanks, Colleen, and hi, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day so far. I'm still trying to get through all the acronyms that were shared, but I come to all of you today feeling both inspired and motivated by our Public Health AmeriCorps grantees and members. So thank you to all of you for the work that you are doing. A couple of weeks ago, I joined the Latin American Youth Center, which is a Public Health AmeriCorps grantee here in the DC area. for a Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service event. At that event, we got to both hear from Secretary of Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra, about the importance of engaging community in public health. And I also had the opportunity to meet with and talk to Public Health AmeriCorps members that are currently serving in Prince George's County. So what I heard from them is not only about their interest in public health and how it's grown through their time in the program, but also just how much they've learned, including about how broad the public health field is. So one of the members, Dwayne, shared with me that he's learned that public health is not only about sitting behind a desk all day, that there are so many different ways to serve in the field, such as becoming an inspector or serving as a community health worker. So I think we're seeing that members are really enjoying their experience, and I just want to thank you again for everything that you are doing. As we mentioned in last month's call, the PHA headquarters team is really focusing on grantee and member experience in 2023. And with that, we have a few leadership updates to share. In January, we hired a training manager, Dr. Aretha Costley, who's making sure that our PHA members have access to high quality resources and career development opportunities. Aretha brings a great deal of cross-sector training and leadership experience to the team. So you'll be hearing much more from her in the coming weeks, and she'll be leading some of the efforts that I'll discuss in a second. In addition, last week, we welcomed a deputy director to the Public Health AmeriCorps team, Maika Sanderson. Maika brings extensive grants and program management experience that will help us ensure that you as grantees get the most out of your Public Health AmeriCorps experience. So I want to take a quick pause to turn it over to Maika so that she can introduce herself. So Maika, if you want to jump in here, I'd encourage you to do so.
Certainly. Thank you, AJ. And I know we have a jam-packed day here, so I'm going to keep this quick. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be joining the PHA team as one of two new deputy directors that are going to be onboarding. As AJ had mentioned, I'm actually most recently coming from the Appalachian Regional Commission, where I had the pleasure of launching a series of COVID-19 related programming. I did a ton of federal grants management there. And I also had the opportunity prior to ARC to work at USDA. So I'm super excited to be kind of joining the team and helping to lead the charge on some of our grant related priorities. So more to come from me over the coming months. Thanks, AJ.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Maika. We're thrilled to have you as part of the team. So jumping to a few updates for all of you, just as a reminder, we have partnerships with the CDC and 5 national public health organizations, APHA, ASTO, NACCHO, NNPHI, and the CDC Foundation. I'll spell those out in the chat after I'm done so that you all know who they are. All of whom are engaging in projects to support PHA grantees and members, build connections between grantees, community organizations, and health departments, and generally increase awareness about PHA. For them to be able to better support you, they are collecting information and feedback from a small cohort of grantees and members who agree to participate in a series of short conversations. So just a heads up that your portfolio managers may be contacting you this month to gauge your interest in participating in these conversations. You won't be contacted by any external partners without us receiving your consent. But we just wanted you to know that the opportunity is there, and we'd encourage you to participate if you are interested. We will definitely be sure to keep our commission partners involved in this process and included in communication from any PHA partners to PHA grantees and sub-grantees. So if you have any questions about this, reach out to your portfolio manager or let us know, or you can also email us directly at publichealth@americorps.gov. In addition, with Aretha's arrival as our training manager, we're also going to be launching Public Health AmeriCorps' Communities of Practice, which we're very excited about. These will be recurring events that provide designated space for collaborative conversations among you, all of our PHA grantees, to just share what's working, raise challenges, and discuss possible solutions, and learn more about what other grantees are up to. Conversation topics will cover a range of things from general program management to specific public health themes. Because we know that you're at different points in your programs, we plan to kick this series off with a conversation that'll be focused on recruitment tips, learning, and best practices. I know Jackie shared a little bit earlier today, and that the team has already been doing monthly calls through the broader ASN team, and we'll be making sure that this first conversation is both complementary and supportive to those calls that have already been happening. So as we build out communities of practice, we do want to shape these events around your ideas and interests and challenges. So we'd encourage you to share your input with us. If you have any particular topic areas or questions or challenges that you're facing, please let us know and we can incorporate that into our planning. You can do that by shooting us an email at publichealth@americorps.gov. Finally, just wanted to let you all know that we're excited to kick off a public health speaker series that is specifically for our PHA members. We are planning several events in 2023 to highlight public health leaders and to provide learning opportunities for your members. So this speaker series is really designed to support PHA members by providing insight into public health careers, creating opportunities to speak directly with public health leaders, and really just initiating informative discussions around topics like strategic communications and public health and health equity. While the intended audience here is PHA members, we would welcome grantees and commission staff to join if they are interested. And we'll definitely share information with you all. So we expect to hold the first event next month in March, and we will be sharing a save the date soon. So with that, I will just end where I began, which was a huge thank you to all of you. I'll be traveling a bunch more this year, and I really hope I'll have an opportunity to see your work in action. So with that, I will turn it back to Colleen to introduce our grantee spotlight, who is a Public Health AmeriCorps grantee. Thanks so much, Colleen.
Thanks, AJ. Before you go, I just wanted to open it up for questions for a couple of, I did flag one in the chat, and it is regarding if there will be another round of PHA funding offered in the fall of 2020.
Thanks, Colleen. We will definitely keep this group posted as we have more opportunities for funding. When we have more information to share, we will definitely get that all out to all of you on this group.
Thanks. Any other questions? I see there are some questions not related to PHA in the chat, but just for this minute, are there any other questions related to Public Health AmeriCorps? Feel free to raise your hand or put your questions in the chat. What a follow-up there, AJ, what is the timeline for letting us know about the fall PHA funding?
Colleen, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the answer to that is April timeline. We should be able to share more information at that point in time. Colleen, correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yep, I defer to other ASN colleagues here as well, but that sounds in alignment. Will the public health speaker series be posted to the public health, I'm assuming the Public Health AmeriCorps website?
Great question. We are working through those logistics right now. We hope to be able to share the speaker series with as many folks as possible. At the same time, want to ensure that we allow members the opportunity to ask questions that they may have and want to make sure that we have a space for them to do so. So TBD on that, but appreciate the question, and we'll definitely incorporate that into our thinking.
Great. Well, thank you, AJ and Maika. Thanks, folks, for your questions. We're going to keep moving, and feel free to keep the questions coming if you have more for PHA. If we can just go back the slide for 1 minute before we do our program spotlight, just want to do a quick pivot back to Lisa Bishop. I know there was a lot of inquiry in the chat regarding PMS, and I just want to give her an opportunity to provide clarity before we move on.
Thank you, Colleen. Yeah, so we see your questions. Bottom line, you will absolutely get guidance, official guidance from us. The payment management system may also have guidance. Nothing is really changing, because what's going away, except for the report that you file with PMS, the only change is that when you draw down those funds, that is your sole certification that you're entitled to those funds and that they'll be dispersed. And so that is what PMS is using going forward. And that's the kind of documentation we'll show to our auditors and should be sufficient to you showing to your auditors. So there's not a replacement for PMS at this time. And again, we're fortunate to not be the first agency out of the gate with this transition like we are with some other things. We also don't have a choice to do it, but other than to do it between now and September 30th. And so we thought we did not want to do it at the end of our fiscal year, which is also when many of your programs are starting, and you're starting new program years. And so we thought that having one more report with the April window made a lot of sense. We will come back to the March call with a much more fleshed out plan for you. We will send you guidance in advance so that you can come with questions as well. We definitely want to do this transition in partnership with all of you. We think it is an absolutely great thing for everyone, but we also recognize it's not without change and some of the trade-offs with change management, and that some of you have to engage other people in your organizations and agencies. And so again, we didn't want to not share this until March, but we'll be coming back in March with a lot more information for everyone.
Thanks, Lisa. Hopefully that helped clear some things up based on the chat. So now I'm going to pass it to my colleague, Seda Lindsay, who will introduce our grantee spotlight. So we can go to the next slide.
Hi, everyone. My name is Seda Lindsay. I'm the Grant Review Specialist for ASN, and I'm excited to introduce our program spotlight for this month, which is Health 360, and they happen to be a public health AmeriCorps program. And so now please welcome Celia Meyer to tell us more.
Hi there, my name is Celia Meyer. I am the Healthy Minds Alliance Director at Health 360. Our team is so honored to be selected as the grantee spotlight for the ASN meeting. So I wanted to take this time to provide a background about Healthy Minds Alliance and to let you know about our current outreach efforts. Health 360 is a nonprofit organization that has been managing Healthy Minds Alliance for almost 10 years now. Healthy Minds Alliance is a national AmeriCorps program, and we are focused on building capacity at organizations across the country to address mental health needs, really at the local level. Our ASN National Direct program, which is our longstanding AmeriCorps program, places full-time AmeriCorps members at various types of organizations nationwide where they are trained as instructors for a mental health gatekeeper training. You may have heard of mental health first aid, or QPR, which is question, persuade, refer, a suicide prevention specific program, or other evidence-based interventions. These AmeriCorps members spend 10 months teaching those classes in the community. Our host sites really vary from school districts to universities, nonprofits, and other types of organizations addressing mental health needs. Our members are located coast to coast, and we are currently working to expand that program. In addition, this year, Health 360 was awarded Public Health AmeriCorps funding to pilot a new track. With the transition of the 1-800 National Suicide Prevention Lifeline to the 3-digit number 988 in July of 2022, so just last year, Healthy Minds Alliance began working very closely with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and Vibrant Emotional Health, which is the designated administrator for 988, to really learn about the crisis care landscape and bring AmeriCorps to the table as a resource to address capacity needs and to build out an intentional workforce pipeline. We are currently working with crisis call centers, training and placing full-time and part-time AmeriCorps members to answer calls, texts, and chats coming into the lines, along with other 988 awareness and capacity building activities. With all of that being said, we wanted to let you know about our outreach efforts. Host site recruitment is vital to the success of our program, and we are currently in the process of ramping up our outreach efforts. All of our host sites, whether they're crisis call centers, nonprofits, or other types of organizations, come to us through a year-round open application process. One of our biggest challenges that we face is getting the word out about Healthy Minds Alliance. We place a lot of value on the strength of the AmeriCorps network, and we are currently connecting with all of the state service commissions to educate about our program and see how we can partner to get the word out about our efforts. Commission staff may have seen an email from us, and we have met with some of you already. We are also constantly connecting with other AmeriCorps programs to tap into the knowledge base around the country, learning from your best practices and challenges. We know although other programs don't have the same focus area as us, that there are a lot of commonalities among AmeriCorps programs across the country. And I was really excited to hear about the communities of practice effort. We will be dropping our information into the chat box if you are interested in connecting with us, or if you know of an organization that might be looking to build capacity around mental health, we would love to talk to them. I also want to take this time to publicly acknowledge and thank our Healthy Minds Alliance staff, who are the brains, the muscle, and the heart behind this program and are really unwavering in their dedication to this work. I also want to thank our portfolio manager, Caitlin Silly-Turco, for always supporting us and being available for all of our needs and questions. And thank you to the ASN team for giving us this space to present about our work. And with that, I will turn the mic back. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Celia, to you and your team and your members for this really important work that you're all doing, and we appreciate you being here. So we're going to move to the next slide and into our pre-submitted question section. So we go to the next slide. So we had one pre-submitted question that applies to all grantees, and it is, please provide an update on the timeline of when national planning grants will be notified of funding decisions and confirm commissions with successful applicants in their state will also receive notification. So I'm going to pass it to Arminda Pappas from ASN to respond to this question.
Thanks, Colleen. Yeah, so our colleagues in ORO notified planning grant applicants on Monday, January 30th of the competition results. And AmeriCorps expects that funded applicants will be reaching out to commissions in the states that they are planning to operate in as per the NOFO. That is the responsibility they have to reach out and establish those relationships. If you have any questions about the planning grant applicant notification, you can reach out to your PM or SPM. And I'll pass it back to Colleen.
Great, thank you, Arminda. So we're going to pause here for an open Q&A. And as a reminder, if you have questions now, they should apply to all grantees. We'll be moving into our commission-only pre-submitted questions and open Q&A in just a minute. So want to take a minute if folks have any questions that apply to all. I see one here related to ARP. When may we expect to receive additional guidance regarding applications, distribution, and reporting requirements of remaining ARP funds? If we can't address in this call, who would you like us to reach out to for additional guidance? Arminda, Lisa, want to take this one?
Hey,
Sure,
Colleen.
oh, go ahead,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Arminda.
Go ahead, Lisa.
Sure. So I think the short answer is we're not prepared to address it in this call. We can certainly, if you have specific questions, I would reach out to your portfolio manager. We have some commission specific questions coming up later around ARP where we'll cover things related just to commissions and particularly the formula placeholders. Arminda, I don't know if you want to add anything from ASN.
That's it. You got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. But please, yeah, please let your portfolio manager know what specific questions you have. That'll help the rest of us provide good resources.
Great, thanks for the question. So we're going to move into our commission specific questions. So all folks who are not commissions are welcome to stay on the line, but if you want to hop off and enjoy the next 7 minutes of some free time, you can go ahead. And before we move into commissions, just want to remind everyone of the note we sent out about a call we're having today at 3:30 regarding engagement with historically Black colleges and universities. So that call will be at 3:30 Eastern, and you could check the reminder for this call for the registration info if you have not seen that yet. So we're going to move into the next slide. One more slide. And one more again. Okay, with the next one. Great. So we did have a few pre-submitted questions just related to commission. So we will get through them now. So the first one is following up on a virtual meeting held in October 2022. I am writing as a state commission to ask for an update on working with the AmeriCorps agency to mitigate unexpended funds. I welcome additional technical assistance from headquarters. We're training the trainers through regional office portfolio managers. So our OGA and ASN teams are handling this list of questions. So I'm gonna open it up to colleagues to answer the first one.
I can respond to the first question. Thank you for this question. Our team, the ASN team, and our ORO colleagues and OGA colleagues will be coming together this month, and we'll be able to provide more information. But we definitely want to make sure that we are continuing the conversation from October. So appreciate you all bringing this up. It is definitely important to ASN, and we will. More to come this month is really the best answer that I can provide right now.
Thanks, Sonali. So our next question is, recruitment is challenging, slowing grant activities and reducing costs. At the midpoint in the year, I estimate our state portfolio will have $1 million in unexpended funds, of which $800,000 will be in an expiring formula fixed grant. This is highly unusual. If it was permitted, the state would continue its expiring fixed grant to a 4th year with the same subgrantees, same unfilled MSYs, and same unexpended funds. Is there any way that AmeriCorps would allow the flexibility to prime grants to A, execute a 4th year option, or B, return ARP funds back to the ARP fixed placeholder prime?
And Colleen, I'll take this one. First, we also really appreciate this question and want to focus on the part that talks about being at the midpoint in the year. If you haven't already, for whomever this applies to, please talk with your portfolio manager to discuss options subgrantee by subgrantee, because we recognize they may not all be in the same position, and there are changes that they may be able to make to their budgets so that each subgrantee could end their year strong. For example, if recruitment is a challenge and the majority of expenses are in their member costs, are there other areas of the budget that could make sense to move the funds? So to both support the AmeriCorps program and make sure the funds remain in the community. Your portfolio manager is a resource for those thought partner conversations, and we know that many of you are already having them. OGA stands ready to support portfolio managers if there are nuances to your budget that are not clearly defined under current guidance as to when you would need a budget amendment or not. But as a starting point, we would approach this right now as you would any other budget amendment. And then we are hopeful that you can focus on these mid-year pivots right now. But that we're not aware of ways for you to extend grants and enroll members through a no-cost extension in a 4th year. We are also, just as Sonali said with the first question, though, very mindful of the larger landscape here and how we can all work together to make sure that these resources get and stay in communities for as long as possible.
Thanks, Lisa. I'm going to move to the last question here. Do you have any additional information about how ARPA formula funds will be treated in 24-25? Specifically, will commissions have the opportunity to create new grants, or will it only be a no-cost extension of 2023-24 funding in which only existing grants can be extended? If you do not yet have an answer, do you know when you might expect one? And Sonali's going to take this one.
Great, thank you so much for this question. As you all know, ARP funding is available until September 30th, 2024. Commissions have the full 4 years to use the ARP funds. So you would have until you would be able to use them for the full 4 years. Hopefully that answers the question.
Thanks, Sonali. We have a couple minutes. Want to open it up for open Q&A. If folks want to use the hand raise feature, I'll take a look at the chat. I see Beth has a hand raised and Jacqueline. So if we can unmute Beth and go to their question.
Hi, thank you, Colleen. This is Beth from New York State. I had submitted a couple of questions late yesterday relative to the instructions that we received on Friday. So the first question relates to whether we are still required to include a recruitment position in our budget, in our, I think it's the CSG budget or KIF, because it was in the round 1 instructions, but not in round 2. And also whether you expect the recruitment position to be required in out years. And this will help us decide whether or not to hire a consultant or to establish a staff position. And then we also want to know if there's a cap on planning grants. With the formula instructions, we saw no cap on planning grants, which there has been previously. Thank you. So it's really 3 questions.
Thanks for your questions. Folks, Arminda, Lisa, want to take the first couple of questions on formula for Sonali.
Yeah, I can just start off really quickly and then I'm going to pass it to Sonali. So for the recruitment position, yes, it should be reflected in your KIF budget for FY 2023, the entirety of it. It was a requirement in the first round, but it's a requirement for the second round. The first round drives the second round. This is just the addition of the actual appropriated funds to your budgets that we didn't have back in the fall when we started this process. Sonali, did you want to say anything about that?
Nope, just agree with what Arminda shared, and then also we'll just share that we know that recruitment has been a challenge, and so that is part of why this is required. But the final decision on 2024 will not be decided until our guidance is released in the fall of this year. And it would be up to you all to figure out how you best fill the position, which I think Arminda already shared. And then I will just answer the question on the cap regarding planning grants. There has, to my understanding, there has not been a cap for formula planning grant applicants. So that hopefully helps you determine the path forward for planning grants with your formula funds.
Thanks for your question. We are at time and are willing to hang on for another couple minutes. If Jacqueline, if you have one question, we're willing to field before we have to wrap up.
Yes, I'll try to make it quick. One, there used to be a caps in the specific terms and conditions that was 75,000 for planning grants that was removed kind of quietly last year. And so if it is going to get added back in, that would be helpful to share with the field. So there's maybe that caveat. The other, I feel like there's still a ton of questions out there on the ARPA formula funds and 24-25 that there's not space to fully talk through now that we're over time on this call. I would just, this is a plea, I guess, for scheduling a follow-up call with commissions on ARPA funds and what that looks like for 24-25, and talking about unexpended funds as well, because these are all related as we're making a lot of big decisions coming up right now with formula and what that's looking like. So too many questions to try to squeeze anything in right now, just an ask for a follow-up call with commissions.
I appreciate the request, Jacqueline, and I think just reiterating the appreciation for the question regarding unexpended funds, and we definitely understand that all of that ties together. So, you know, we definitely want to make sure that we can provide the level of support that's needed for everyone, and want to be diligent about that process. So more to come, and appreciate the flag. And then I think thank you for referencing the terms and conditions. As you shared, the $75,000 is not in the terms and conditions, and I don't foresee that changing in the near future. But should it change, we appreciate the request that folks are notified of that.
Thanks so much.
Great. And I know that we're over time. So Colleen, I think I just want to say again, thank you to everyone for joining us this month. Again, a full agenda, lots of information to share. Want to just celebrate the great work that's happening in the field, from our highlights on the DSU and disaster recovery work that's happening in Florida and New Mexico. And the work that we're collectively doing around recruitment, and an appreciation to all of our public health AmeriCorps grantees that are doing incredible work, and the unique opportunities that that are available to our members of Public Health AmeriCorps. So thank you, AJ, for that. And also excited about AmeriCorps Week. So as Adrian Andrews shared, please let us know what you might be doing and what you're planning. We definitely want to be able to highlight and support all of you. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.